Guys, welcome. I'm going to get out of the way. Jackie is here. Jackie is a freaking boss. You
Thank
are.
you, Jane. Thank
Jackie
you.
has been through everything you're going through pretty much, guys, right now.
Yes.
And she's just a little bit ahead of the curve of where you are. So
Yep.
take it away, Jackie. Tell us all about you. And then, hi, Jody Gay. How are you guys? And I'll be just chilling over here.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. As Jane said, I am Jackie, and my business is Dietology. If you want to check it out, when you have a moment, it's www.dyetology.com. And I am the owner and designer. And I started my business about 4 years ago, and it's really evolved to where it is today. I am a small business, and so I don't technically manufacture anywhere except for out of my home. I have a line of hand-dyed, really awesome, super soft apparel and accessories like scarves. I use all natural fibers. I use high quality fabrics. So I source the fabrics and then I hand dye them here in my house. So, and then I have a seamstress that helps me with the sewing. I do buy a few things off of, suppliers' lines as far as if I can find like a natural fiber quality t-shirt or a tank top, some things like that I really don't want to invest, a lot of time in sewing. So it's a small operation. Basically how I got started is I have a degree in fashion design. And when I was getting my degree in fashion design, we learned surface design. And we learned everything from screen printing to batiking, hand dyeing, you name it. And I really fell in love with it. And my senior collection, actually, I hand dyed all the fabrics and basically hand dyed it all because I really, really loved that part of my curriculum. I also was lucky that in my curriculum, we had a pretty extensive fiber and fabric technology class. So learned everything about weave and construction and the different types of fabrics. I was very lucky because sometimes that can be a whole different, like a separate degree. And I was lucky that that was integrated into my degree. So I've always loved fabrics and just the tactileness of that. So fast forward, got into the corporate world, corporate design, was traveling a lot, was fortunate. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. So we are outside of LA and New York. I think we're the fourth largest like fashion city just due to the hub that we have here. We have Abercrombie, Justice, The Limited, Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works. Who else? We have quite a few headquarters here just because of Les Wexner's empire. So great resource for in the corporate world, had a child. And then I just really found myself, I don't want to say dissatisfied in my corporate job, but really not that creative. Yes, I was in corporate design, I've designed handbags, accessories. I designed denim and women's casual, like separates, activewear, outerwear. So although I was in a creative field, like it just didn't really feel that creative anymore. So I picked up hand dyeing probably about, I think maybe it was like 5 years ago. Cause I really, after being on the computer all day and not feeling very creative, I really wanted to get back with like something hands-on. And I just was like, okay, I want to do something creative for myself versus, designing for a company where it's really not that creative. Especially after you've been doing it for a while, it kind of becomes kind of formulaic. And so I picked it back up and really just fell back in love with it. And one thing kind of led to the next. Like I just really started picking back up the techniques again, really invested in some tutorials, books, DVDs, and just to learn more. And the more I did, I got better at it and started making some good stuff. And then before I knew it, it's like, I had literally like a whole dining room full of stuff. I'm like, well, what are you going to do here? Like, you can't just keep making this stuff and keeping it in your house. So, it just kind of evolved where I started doing, Columbus has a great, vibrant art scene for every type of creative, meaning like from a small maker up to a big business. So we're very fortunate that we have a great art scene that we're supported by. So I started doing a lot of local shows, got a great response. And then I initially launched on Etsy first, because that seemed to be the next logical progression, just for, something creative and artistic, and not being so heavily apparel based. I'm like, I'll try Etsy. And then I did, I think it was probably a year after that, I realized that Etsy is great, but you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket. Etsy's customers are not your own. You can't really contact them, or you're not supposed to. There can be payment issues. They can shut down their shop without notice, which I had a little issue. I'll be really honest. I got a legal issue from Etsy that I had in like a trademark infringement. And it was my first name that I went out with. And I had researched names on my end. But like the patent lawyers and things like that, they have a much more comprehensive software system to search. So I did not intentionally take someone's name. It just by accident happened. And that was really scary when I got that notice from Etsy that they were going to shut my shop down in 2 weeks. So it was just like, okay, I need to get some of my eggs out of Etsy's basket. And so then I started with my own website. And from there, it's just really grown. I just this fall switched to Shopify, which I highly, highly recommend if you guys are just starting out and maybe don't have a website yet, or are looking for platforms. Shopify is just really optimized for the retail experience. I did not initially go with Shopify because it is a little bit more difficult for the user experience at first. Like, there's some really cool, like really easy drag and drop website builders, which, when you're first starting out, that seems like, oh, I'm just going to do this, which is exactly what I did. But then when you really start to get into hardcore selling and want that optimized experience for the user and for yourself, there's so many great apps and plugins through Shopify that just make your life so much easier. So that's why I just recently just switched to Shopify. Also, Shopify has so many places in the platform to be optimized for SEO, which is search engine optimization, which I didn't know this at first, but my old platform was not so optimized. So of course we all want to be found because we're out online selling. So those are just a few things about Shopify. If you're looking into platforms, can't recommend it enough. So that's kind of how I got started. And it's really just grown. I actually have help now. I think Jane has really drilled into me with my time with her. Like, you can't do it all yourself. And I think at first that was really hard for me. I was like, this is my own business. Like, I should be doing everything myself. But I actually have help now. I have a seamstress that helps me. I have a freelancer that helps me with some blog posts and research. And then I utilize platforms like Upwork and Fiverr. Those are great, great resources. And if you can find some great people out there, like, utilize them. And it's great because you're not kind of in bed with them forever. So, I've found some people out there that I don't use anymore, but then I've actually found some great people too that I will go back and use them again. So those are two great resources. And, especially out on Fiverr, like, you can find people pretty affordably, which I didn't know about those resources before working with Jane. So I was really pleased to find that I could find help at an affordable price. So yeah, it's really exciting to be able to feel like I can offload some of this and, really focus on the parts of my business that, someone else can't, like the marketing and the strategy and the overall direction. So I don't feel that guilt anymore of like, oh, I have to do it all myself. Like, it's okay. And you should ask for help because that's the only way that you're going to be able to move forward. Another thing that I wanted to share is, launching your business. I think now I can look back and say I did some things right. And there were some things I didn't do right. And it's almost like I've had 3 launches, meaning like I started with Etsy, then I started with my own website, and then I just recently switched to Shopify. And it was almost like I've almost had like 3 evolutions. And I think the things that I did right was I was doing a lot of in-person events beforehand. And so that was a great opportunity to talk with people, hear what they loved about the product, and things like that. And so that was great for me because, it just helps when you're selling online, it's really hard to know what's working and what's not. So at least by doing in-person events, I at least had some ideas about people, like what they were responding to, what they were saying about the quality and the fabric. So I think that was one thing that really helped me. The other thing that had helped when launching my business, when I first launched Etsy, I had found a different group, but it was all geared towards Etsy sellers. So much like you're doing in Jane's group, having that support and that camaraderie and just a forum where you can ask questions. Like there's so much to know starting out and it can be overwhelming, but just having some people to answer questions or if, you're just feeling overwhelmed, just to kind of commiserate with, because it can be, lonely at time. Your friends and family will support you, but they most of the time won't be able to help you with your website issues or trying to figure out how to get your email list started. So it's really great to have that camaraderie and people to bounce ideas off of. So you're already on the right track, like being in a group like Jane's. And I think the third thing that I did right was I think it's really important to have the support of friends and family. And it doesn't mean that they have to approve of everything that you're doing, but I know I wouldn't be able to do the business I'm doing without my husband's support. We have an 11-year-old son. And I just recently left my corporate job, but before that, so for almost 4 years, I was doing both, working full time, which was like, 60, 70 hours a week, plus travel, and working this. So I guess you would have considered this my side hustle, but I was hoping it would become my main hustle. But without his support, because I was kind of the absentee parent. I was working a lot and doing my shows and really focused on that. And I would have to say without his support and like friends support too, it does make things easier if you have that friends and family support. So those were good things that I had. But then like the mistakes I think I've made when I launched was I really didn't know the importance of emails and collecting people's emails. That's like your holy grail. You got to get those emails. And I really wasn't focused on that for the first couple of years because I just didn't know. And I thought, oh, I'm out here selling and I'm out online. That's good. I'm doing really good. And not that I wasn't, but I didn't realize the importance of it. So really, I can't stress enough even if you don't have a product yet, go ahead and start like doing your blog or, having a place where you can start collecting those emails. So then when you do go live, you have an audience. So that is the biggest thing that I learned, I think, is about email collection. The second thing is I really didn't have a marketing plan. And starting out, it can be really difficult because you're so overwhelmed. But I think just even having a little plan, like I had no plan. I was like, oh, I'm posting on social media. Like I'm good. Like that's marketing. Well, and it is, but like you need some more robust content than just like posting, even to your post. Like what's your plan of attack for posting? Are you going to post process? Are you going to post inspiration? Like I just was all over the place. So I think now that I know, I need to have more of a plan in place. And I think a couple other mistakes that I made, pricing. I know Jane has a great pricing costing course. I think as when you're first starting out, it's hard to assess your worth and price it accordingly. So I think, and you have to be fair. So it's a really hard balance, but I would say, take Jane's costing course. I know I knew that my prices were really low. And then after I did her costing course, like my heart just sank because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm so like, what am I going to do? Like I can't go out automatically and double my prices because that's going to make my current customers mad. So that's the thing that you have to worry about is like, even if you have 100 customers right now, it may not seem like a lot, but you don't want to lose, everybody up into a point and then like double your prices. So be fair to yourself. And so that was one thing, was really going out too low. And so I've had some price increases, and it's something that I'm still working on. And as I bring out new products, at least now, like my new products, I'm really mindful of where I should be. And then the old ones, I'm just working on slow increases. I think another mistake that I made, I had too much stuff. Like I wanted to kind of have a little bit of everything to appeal to babies and appeal to pets because, all my friends have kids and I love pets. And then I wanted to make sure my women, because that's my core customer, had enough, scarves and apparel. So it just really ballooned. And I think it's almost better to start off with less product and really get those right and get your costs right on those than being so broad. So I know I've pared down a lot from where I started. And like now I'm like even looking to cut that dead weight. Like I'm like, no, that's not selling. Like how long do I give this? So I can it's so much easier when you kind of prune the dead weight and you're left with styles that will really perform for you. So more is not always more. And then I would say the last mistake, I think just doing it all myself. As I mentioned, now I have help. And I think you will go through a process where you start out doing it all yourself. And I think it's great to learn the processes and learn how you want it done. So then when you get someone that you can help, then you can tell them how you want it done. So if you don't know how to do it, it would be hard to tell someone how you want it done. So I would just say though, but don't go too long. If you feel yourself growing, start reaching out then for help, because it could take you a little while to find someone that can actually help you. So don't wait too long. I waited way too long and I was like a crazy lady trying to do it all myself. So I would say that those kind of in a nutshell are my big takeaways about things that have worked and then things that have not worked for me, or I guess mistakes, learnings to grow from.